Okay, so this is weird. Um, I don't even know where to start on some of the. So, anyways, I'm just gonna start with my sleeping. So we went for a walk yesterday, and all day yesterday, I crocheted some, and I trying to learn to make these bucket hats is an ordeal, I'll tell you. And I haven't even started the granny stitch thing yet. Like, ugh. Um, but anyways, so working on that, but then my hands are cramped and stuff. But all day it was just weird. I don't, man, all this stuff just gets so weird. Like I don't even feel like I'm here or something. I don't know how to explain it. It's so strange. But the at sometime it was rainy and cold all fucking day. And Stella wanted to go for a walk, so we went for a walk. I smelled chemicals again. The other day, I smelled two when we went. One of them, it smelled so strong, it was kind of like, it seemed similar to like a fingernail polish remover, only just like a huge, as big as blast of it. And that day, there was another one too, but it didn't smell like that. It smelled different. Yesterday, when I went, it was a weird smell. I don't remember what it was. I was just like, man, do they just come in here and just spray us every day with some weird shit, man? Is that what the awakening is here in my spot? Is that one of those little towns that's just being poisoned? It's like, fuck, dude. But a lot of times too, when I'll smell it, and you can look up about this. This is it's been in disclosure stuff and stuff, because they use aerosols, because it works good. So the when I smell it, usually I'll feel like a kind of like a head rush or lightheaded or something. But I mean, I'm sure if you like walked through a store and somebody, give you a little spritz of that in the face, it would, who knows? Because it will make me feel lightheaded. And so, and then a lot of times I'll just tell Stella, because I know how many times it has just knocked me out, where I just like, I cannot stay awake. And all yesterday, already still, well, I guess it's not yesterday. It was yesterday when I've been up though. uh, so all yesterday and now starting this day as well is this weird headache that I keep seeing. It has something to do with the Schumann stuff or the sun. Like, I think that could be just a whole lot of people are having a really bad headache right now. And so then when I got back, because I'm always like, come on, let's go. And she just wants to go. And she just is, she is like inspector of the neighborhood. She wants to just go in everybody's yard, inspect. She wants to go, like she is, I don't want to say NOSY, because that sounds negative. So I keep trying to turn it into curious. But when I'm going with her, it's really hard. It's like, oh my God, you are so, it's funny, but it's exhausting still. I mean, going on walks with her, it tries my patience. Like, oh, not every day do I, meet the challenge. When I'm having a horrible headache, it's raining on me and stuff, I'm just really impatient with it. And she wants to just sit, like she can sit and smell a patch of grass for 5 minutes. Just stand there and stand there and stand there. Sometimes she can just smell something and she'll just stop and focus and just stare for 5 minutes. Sometimes she'll smell something, want to charge up in people's yards. Like, it's just, she's wild. So, and the stronger she's gotten, it's crazy. But anyways, so when I smelled that, and then I came back, oh yeah, and the little girl came with her dog, showed up. Oh, and there was a sad thing about that too, yeah, because, but I got a confirmation thing about, I said, she talks like an old lady so many times, not just the rain thing. That was like, there's other things that she'll say. And I'm always like, man, does she just sit around with an old person or something? Like, is her mom just really sickly? And maybe she just is like, her mom's sickly and like, I don't know. Or it's just, you can pick up on something from the home, from their environment, from how they talk, what they talk about, like their focus or something. I don't know how to explain it. It maybe is another one of those things when I start, being able to see through people and see what people are not saying and all that stuff. So it may be kind of like on that thing, I can just pick up on things that I would just say that it just happens more and more the less you are concerned with the 3D, the more you just pick up on stuff. I don't know. I think it's just like our natural self when it's not interfered with. But so because she said that her grandma said that they were going to have to get rid of the dog if the dog keeps biting anybody. And so then I got confirmation, okay, so you live at grandma's house. And it seems like I'm not even sure if her mom and dad are around much. I'm not really sure. And I can pick up a lot on that. She has like some frustration. Like she's really yearning for something. I don't know for sure what, I mean, it's not like I can give it. I mean, she obviously needs something from us because she keeps stopping by, and I know she really likes Stella, and Stella really likes her. Stella is so excited. And so, I've just got to, you know, I mean, maybe it's one of those energetic things, but I just try and be real and try and be regular. But the sad thing when, she said they may have to just get rid of the dog, and it's just like, God, there's so many things that are just really coming so much to me about the animals and human and animal relationships and the disrespect for other beings. And yesterday I was like really thinking a lot about the spirit animal because, I can see how Stella is transforming. Like it's trippy watching your dog's consciousness become more it's crazy. And so I was thinking a lot about like, if it's an animal consciousness, and this is something that's always in reincarnation stuff. Like you read things and it'll be different things. But so like I try and figure out what I think about it. Is you'll find like people think different things about it. But I just, it seems like there's definitely, because how would she just stop being my animal spirit and she would just become another person? And like, I don't know. That just doesn't make sense to me. But I can definitely see how, like through the different life cycles, like if they go through an animal life cycle, but there's more to it with your spirit animal. Like I go more with like, I think Native American. I don't see, all the words are just wrong. Like there's a whole thing yesterday. I remember and I've said Oriental to my kids before, and they're, Mom, that's so rude. It's like, yeah, but Oriental, that is like from the Orient. They're from the Orient. They're Oriental. Because when you say Asian, like there's people that are like Middle Eastern from Asia. And I've talked about that before. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But so I saw a guy yesterday and he was saying that he is from the Orient and he loves being called Oriental. He can't stand being called Asian. Oriental sounds respectful and all this stuff. And he is saying, like, if you're in Europe, they call them Oriental, and it's American woke culture started this Asian thing, and he said he hates it. And so see, like, and then when you hear like these Native American, like they don't want to be called Indians, they want to be called Native Americans and not Native to America, like all this stuff with tribes. And yesterday I was thinking about even like, I think it was like there's a lot of shit going on with immigration. There's a whole fucking Paris is like, ugh, man, so much shit going on there. I kept seeing on live after live. And migrant camps, there's like, I don't even know, explosions, and I'm not even sure. There's a whole thing going on there. But so the, man, this thing, I don't even know what it is. It's over there. It's making this reflection. It looks like 11:11. It's really distracting my mind. Because it keeps I keep seeing that. Now Stella's going to start with her. She was snoozing away still. Oh yeah, because I'll finish back to my story of that first. Maybe that's why I need to finish the story. So we went for because I was on to the girl. Yeah, because the girl came over with her dog, and then she was saying she was going to have to get rid of her dog, and it just made me really sad. And so I started trying to tell her, training tips and stuff. Like I've spent a ton of time in training class. And as when you have a giant dog, you got to, know how to control it. And so, and you got to have it be trained, you can't just have a big giant dog that's out of control. And so, but what I learned in training classes, it's more training us of how to communicate with the dog. So it's more like training the human, I thought. So anyways, I tried to share some stuff with her to tell her, because she can get control. And he's just an out of control big puppy. And he's got that big giant pit bull face. I mean, he's big, like big. Because he's a mix of a Rottweiler and a pit bull. And so he's beautiful looking, but he's rowdy, and he's big enough where, he knocks into them and then bites them or just scratches into them. He's just out of control, playful, and then they react and jump up and scream and shriek and all that stuff. He thinks they're playing. So anyways, grandma's had enough. And so I don't know what's going to happen about that, but it's just this is what dog ownership has become, here in this country. It's just is disposable. It's consumption. Oh, that one's nice. I saw a video of this woman. This is video after video after video. I'm not even shitting, This woman, her neighbors moved out and left their dog. And the dog was in there 2 weeks. And so the woman was going and feeding and giving water. These people didn't come and do anything. So they came back after 2 weeks, or they went on vacation. They came back after 2 weeks, and the dog was all excited to see him, and they ignored him, and then they just left again and didn't do anything. So the neighbor woman, Stella, will you stop it? God, she's going wild and rolling around and stuff. Sometimes she just goes wild. And so she, the woman took the dog, and it was one of those golden doodles, and so many people got those, and so many people can't stand them now. And that's going to be one's going to just fill up the places because they're very big and rowdy and stuff. Like when Trixie was here, it was like Tigger, and she could just bounce right over the fucking fence and shit. Like it was crazy. And super hyper intent. And that's what I had a golden retriever. And that's what Winston was like. And that is what I learned at dog training school. You got to get to know the breed before you go and just get a breed because you think they're cute. You need to know their personality. So all these people have these dogs and they can't stand their personalities. And so they just left this one, and they're the sweetest dogs, but they're high anxiety, and they are a lot of maintenance and stuff. They need constant grooming, and this one's totally matted. And then they just are so loving and stuff. And the way this one, just sitting there, putting his head on this woman's lap, and was just so happy, and just was reminding me of Trixie, that she would do that all the time. And I just seeing all these different videos and stuff of, the criminal. I swear to God, I'll be glad when people wake up and stop doing this shit and see that this shit matters. And but still, you're not going out now. Oh my gosh. Every time I start doing something, it's like, oh my gosh, it's got to be about me. No. So anyways, we went for a walk, and she remembered the bells now. She forgot about them for a while. I was like, kind of weirding me out. Okay, I'm doing this. Go lay down, Stella. stop. No. And this energy is really like, oh gosh, it's a lot. And so anyways, we got back and my head was just pounding and pounding. I've just been putting this stuff on. I've not been able to like really focus for very long, you know? And then it was like I just could not stay awake again. And that is one of the things I always notice is like I can't stay awake. And so it was killing my eyes. It was killing my head more to try and stay awake. So I lay down on the couch. And I think it was like 7. I was like I was closing things up like 5:30. I swear to God. 6 o'clock, I'm closing all the curtains, turning off all the lights. And so I was laying there and before I went to sleep, I was on TikTok for a minute. And so I saw Solstice live. So at Stonehenge. And so it was all these people at Stonehenge and everybody's out there. It was a giant ass party. And they were saying the thing that we all wait for is the sunrise. So we all spend the night here. It's like 10,000, 15,000 people or something. It's this huge thing. And so all these people, so I saw that. And it was dark. It was just the sun was setting and they were all, it was just getting dark and it was like this ceremonial kind of thing that they were all doing. They're all looking up and watching the sunset and stuff. And so I thought, I wonder when it's going to rise, because they were talking about the sunrise is the big event. And so I was like, that's so interesting. You know, I didn't even realize it was a solstice. I kept hearing about, well, the full moon. Well, everybody's so busy talking about the Schumann, and now it's gone into arguments over what it really means. And and then the new moon in Gemini or something. So there's all this shit going on, and then there's big solar flares coming, and there is you know, lots of stuff going on. And so, and then this one girl, and I talk about her a lot, and she's live all the time. She's either live or, and so she was live. And so I was like, dang, man, she's in New Jersey. Oh, well, it wasn't that late there, because it was only 7 here. But still, I was like, man, she's on live all the time. It just, I really thought, you know, it just stuck out to me. And then, oh my gosh, she's getting so dramatic. And so then there was another thing too. There was a couple of other things that were going on live. The France thing, it was like huge. It seems like the cops were tearing the migrant, like a whole tent village in the middle of town, and they were tearing it, but I couldn't tell like whose side the French people were on, if it was like they were wanting to help them, like it was like chaos. And in the little bottom thing they were seeing explosions, but I wasn't seeing smoke or anything. But there is some explosions in other places and big ass fires, and a lot of chaos going on. But because then, so I fell asleep, and it seems like maybe I was only asleep for, I don't know. Everything is so chopped up. So I just know I was in my bed. And then so I don't know how I was from the couch, and I was in my bed. So I was in my bed for a while, and then I was laying there, and I was like, oh my God, I am like awake. What the fuck? I was like, shh, is it already morning? And so I'm laying there, and then I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm not going to be able to go back to sleep. I'm just tossing and turning, getting irritated. So I get up, I come out. It's 11:30. I was like, what? The holy hell. 11:30? Oh my God. I was just like, oh my God. I cannot believe it. So then I just thought, okay, so I'm going to make chamomile tea. I'm going to smoke the rest of this joint. I'm just going to sit here, try and relax, go back to sleep. So I did those things, laid back down. I looked on TikTok. When I went back on TikTok, she was live. She was live again. I think she probably took a break, but it was like, what? And I kept on being like, okay, what in the hell is going on? So it was 11:30. I paused my music thing, and I was like, okay, it says 4 hours. So then I go, I'm still on the TikTok thing, and then it is all of a sudden it's Stonehenge, and they're all up in this, and they're all standing waiting for the sun to rise. I was like, it just set. What in the hell is going on? And so they're all standing, and then they're all cheering, and I was like, well, I got to see the sunrise, so I got what I wanted, but what in the holy hell is happening? How was it just, how was she, I was like, okay, I'm just like, my head is spinning, like, what in the holy hell? And so then I go, which is making me feel more drugged out or something. Like, I don't know what they spray on us, but it makes me feel really weird. And that is where I'm like, is that what's making me feel like disconnected from myself or something? I don't even know. And then, so I'm laying there, and so then I decided, okay, well, I'm trying to go back to sleep. I'm laying there. It's like, no, it's just not happening. It's like the energy is way too up. I can't, it's too much racket, too much, it's like intense. I don't know. And then the parasite thing. And so they're just starving, apparently. And I guess in a full moon, they become hungrier. And so I'm just sitting there starving. And I'm like, oh my God, damn. Are they just trying to, because that's when I made my tea. Because these motherfuckers won't leave me alone. So I made the tea, and I added some diatomaceous earth and some borax. And it was like, how do these motherfuckers keep going? So then I'm go on TikTok, because I can't go back to sleep. I go back on there. Here's a guy talking about the parasites. And he says, it's the nanos, and that's what I said. These motherfuckers crawling around. I swear to God, they're crawling around, like crawling my, ugh. And he said, and he was going off on the demon and stuff like that. That's why I said there's some of these people that like me talking about things, and then they'll go off on something, and it's like, okay. So the nanos that are falling on us and getting on us, but the gross thing is, so you go brush your teeth, and then you get some grape juice or some wine, and then you swish it in your mouth. He didn't say how long, but it seemed like he was swishing for a few minutes. Like, it was definitely like he's standing there swishing. So then you spit it into a bowl. This was creepy. This is creepy, man. Because I can see these things in my eyes and shit, man. And it is driving me crazy how it says 11, 11, 11, 11. What in the hell? It's just, it must be something over there that has lines. And just the way this line is, the light is hitting. But it's weird how it looks like a digital clock with 11 dot dot 11. It's weird. So you spit it into the bowl. Spit it into a bowl. It has where you can see. And he spit his into a white bowl. And it's... oh my God. I could not believe it. It was disgusting. Oh my God. And maybe they're just bacteria and they got colored or something. Man, we're just going too deep into this shit. Like, one thing is with, because when you look, these things are, I mean, they were trying to find each other. They were hooking up. There were things that look, oh my gosh, just do it for yourself, or look up a video and see somebody else do it. I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to get some damn grape juice. I'm doing it. All my dishes are black. I got to find a white bowl. But I do have a white bowl. Yeah, that was, oh my God. That's just going to freak me out more. But they're like, I don't know how to get rid of these motherfuckers. I swear to God. Like, I keep taking all this stuff, and there's just so many that they're just... But is it just our regular bacteria, and we're just all getting paranoid? And, is it just, just our hunger pains, and it's just... I'm so... This is where it messes with my head sometimes, listening to other people, what they think. And, I don't even know. So so distracting my mind. Oh my gosh. Let me think. I just was looking, it was like, oh my God, 24 minutes. I gotta try and sometimes this is where it's like challenges to be able to keep my focus. And that's one thing too, like when we're out on a walk and she's driving me crazy, I have to keep pulling myself in. Okay, it's a challenge. This is a challenge. I think we need to come out a lot of the things where people lose their minds. I mean, there's so many people losing their minds and they feel like they're, I got excuses, like diagnoses or excuses or something. I saw in all these people in their videos and shit, I saw this video of this woman and I was in the, I mean, my injury was in the hospital. I was in, I think they were just leaving me to die. I mean, I'm not even sure what the hell. I mean, they decided I was a drug addict, apparently, and I was on pharmaceuticals, and I just had one tattoo. It was a big tattoo. Like I have a lizard that goes from up here to down here that I got back in the 80s, and so I had that. But people are biased, but whatever I mean, I had some of those nurses want to give me drugs, and it was just really horrible. So I know, what it's like to be in the hospital and be in horrible pain and nobody doing anything. I mean, I've been on the other side too, as I've been a nurse who's trying to do everything and have a patient. There's nothing you can do. You do everything. I mean, you can have patients. You can give them. And this is how they mess with the receptors, or when they cross into the blood-brain barriers, and they can mess with receptors and shit. So you get these people who their pain receptors are all, hungry. They all need something to stop them, and they have too many. As one thing is like what happens. For addiction and stuff, why it gets so hard is because they create more and more of these receptor sites, and they have to get them fed or something. I don't know how to explain it, but it's kind of like how I understood it. And so the all these got a little snort really going through me. All these the receptor sites, the drugs, the people. Oh yeah, okay. So this woman's in the hospital, and she is. Oh yeah, okay. So when I was a nurse, and then when the patients would come in, especially when I worked on the neuro floor, because all the people with back injuries, they have to go through neurosurgeons, and the back pain people are the most highly addicted. It's great. Old people, old women, for a long time, I think they stopped doing it so much now, but for a long time, they just would give everybody opiates, and then they would need more and more. You take them, and then it would stop working because you build all these more receptors, more receptors, more receptors. And so then they would have, these people would come in on such huge milligrams of drugs. It was crazy. And then they go in and they get surgery. And so then they have another pain, but then they have all these other receptors, and there's nothing that can stop their pain. Nothing. And so as a nurse, you're out there, it's frustrating, and you can be calling the doctor, and you got to kind of just wait it out. Sometimes you got to just like hide from the patient, like there's nothing you can do. They have to just like get through their pain. Every 10 minutes, you can't give them something. And I've talked about this before, this side of people, this deep wounded side of people that come out in the hospital, of needing to be taken care of, and this whining, and nobody has ever taken care of them in their lives. And oh my gosh, a really gross side of people comes out and when they go in the hospital. And it's annoying to me, because I'm way more of a fighter, way more of a, you got to do some of this yourself. And people become just, no, somebody just do everything for me, make me better. And so, we're seeing so much of that come out in people right now. And so that's just, something that people are going to have to heal. It's just not part of my personality. So I don't know how, I mean, that's other people's personalities that can help people figure out how to heal that if they don't. To me, it just is claiming your empowerment. Like, but, so, this woman in the video, so because when you give them medicine, like you go in and give it to them, and they would need so much, they wouldn't be even, like you'd have to stand there and count their breaths. And if there was less than 10, you couldn't give them more. These people, their pain will go and go and go to the point where they will stop breathing. And so there's a fine line as the nurse. And there's a lot of people who have addiction. Like there's nothing you can do to help their pain. And it's not just the opiates that have done that. It's also the benzos and something else. And that's why I've said so much. I've talked about this so much about the crossing the blood-brain barrier. People just don't realize when they're taking these certain medicines what they're really doing. And they're like changing your body chemistry and shit. And so, and all these people and these anti-anxiety, all this shit, anti-depression, long-term, and then all these doubling up on this shit, man, everybody's just a goddamn science experiment. And so, I had empathy for the nurse in this video, but it was extreme too. But then I'm not there, so I don't know what's the situation, because I've definitely seen some crazy shit at the hospital. When working in the hospital, you see, and plus working in the ER, oh my Lord have mercy, I've seen some crazy shit. And so, this woman who's getting the video, she's the patient. And so written on the thing, her writing stuff says that she had asked for medicine an hour ago and her nurse disappeared and had not come back. So she goes to the hall and opens the hall. She's across from the nurse's station and her nurse is sitting right there. And then she opens her door and she's just crying like a baby. I've seen this so much. I'm telling you, people, I would think, it's like whatever happens in the hospital stays in the hospital. It's like people change. People become so like little babies. And so she's crying and crying, screaming and crying. And, and asking, why haven't you come and brought me medicine? I need medicine. I'm in pain. I need medicine. I need medicine. I need medicine. That just was really ringing out to me. That's dependency. People feel they need this. Instead of going in and using your mind to try and control your breathing or something. It's like an insatiable, give me more, give me more, give me more. Like, just make it go away, make it go away, make it stop. And, that'd be great if we could all do that. But, it's just not the way it is. You got to some control over yourself. That is one thing too, is like, doing tattoos, but also getting so many tattoos, knowing how you have to pull your mind into, focus when somebody's sitting there, jacking your skin, just ripping your skin off of you. And it's like a slow thing for hours and hours and hours. Like your nerves and your stuff, you have to pull your focus. So doing tattoos, you see, some people who can and some people who cannot. And funny enough, there's a lot of people who cannot, and they still want to go in there and get tattoos, and they're jerking around and can't sit still. And so anyways, this woman, when she's having this fit at the door, it didn't seem like an extreme fit, but it's her camera, so it's her, POV. It's like we can't see what she's doing, what she looks like, or anything like that. I didn't go on and look at her whole page, but the security guard that's standing over in front of the desk, so to me, that was also a sign, being in the hospital, is like, okay, if the security guard's standing there, this woman is probably acting crazy. There's something going on. Maybe, I don't know. But the security guard goes running over there, tries to grab her phone. it turns into this giant scuffle. It seems to go onto the ground or onto the bed or something. But this security guard was huge. And she's screaming, "Let go of my phone! Leave! Give me my phone!" And I don't know if it's because the woman keeps trying to film the hospital employees and they're fed up. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know people are whacked out trying to get, everybody's trying to go viral for some reason. Everybody's just like trying to show the world is crazy. And they don't realize, like, you look crazy. You're the one who looks crazy. And especially when I've seen these ones where people each have their phones on each other and stuff. It's like so wacky, man. And all the trouble in Tulsa, like there's so many people asking for help in Tulsa, and they're just not supposed to have power till Saturday, and there's already people dying and having heat exhaustion and stuff. It's like, man, I don't know what the energy is there. In Texas too, same thing's going. And California, yesterday I saw they were having a cold, like here. Said they got the cold front that came in because the girl was like, "This is the weirdest. I've never had a June like this before." And so the cold or the cold air is moving down the coast over here. I don't know if it's going towards the Midwest, but that's where they're going to have it start hitting over. I don't know where the storms are going to go. I just saw footage of the hugest fire in Vegas. It was live, and it looked like it was on both sides of the street. And it looked like it was more than one of those big old buildings. So I don't know what's going on there. I mean, it's the middle of the night. And then in the lives, there was a shooting in California, in LA. And I didn't see any tanks or anything on the streets, but there keeps being all this stuff about that. So, I mean, they're still there. It's so crazy how they can drag this stuff out. I can't, I mean, I heard the 21st, 22nd, 23rd were going to be big things. Today's the 21st. It has something to do with the solstice, too. Stella, please just lay down and go to sleep. I swear when she's awake, she just wants me to just do her stuff. And I know she's feeling tense because I'm feeling so tense. It feels so tense. It feels like, oh my gosh, this has got to just blow. I cannot believe how tense this feels. It is in the headache and stuff. It's like, fuck, this energy is, and it all is going to be to lead to this whatever, something. Oh, yeah, and the person with the beard that I saw, or it was, Jay Leno may have had a beard too, but it was Tucker Carlson, because I always thought of him as being so clean cut. And then on his Twitter now, he has this whole show. And so I see people share videos of his on TikTok. And then I saw somebody was sharing one, and he just goes on and just talks. I mean, that's the same thing he always did on his other show. But it was just weird. He had a beard. I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, maybe Fox made him like, no, you got to be clean cut. And now he's like, yeah, I'm going to do what I want. So I don't know, but that was the one that would through me. But I kept seeing Jay Leno. But the thing with Jay Leno that was weird was because he had something happen. Now I can't remember what it was, but it ripped his ear off in the side of his face or something. And so then the person who was interviewing said, "Let me see your ear." And they looked at it. It was like, it looks so perfect. It looks like nothing ever happened to it. And he goes, yeah, because I have good surgeons. And that is where I was like, oh, see, so it could have been, a bad thing. And I don't know, maybe their consciousness has gotten so well, they're just like, hey, just put me in a new one. I don't want this one with this broken ear. And I was like, man, dude, are they just printing 3D ears out, like match that one and put it on? And then, I don't know, as the guy was like, you can't even tell that he had to get a new ear. And then I don't know what happened to his face. I don't know what it was, but it really just made me think about the clones. Like, I don't know, it's just strange. And the stuff with this place is just like, man, it was like, I don't was like a few different things that came, but then it was like, I don't know what, I was just like lost it. I don't think that's what I'm supposed to talk about. Let me think what I'm supposed to talk about though. Because it seems like there was like a lot of different things. One of the things that is just so weird is like how on this Schumann thing, and then all the people have to go in, have to, oh no, I'm going to explain it. No, I'm going to explain it. Maybe these lights are killing me too. They're all going to explain. And, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what the thing. Okay, so the weather thing in California. And then I saw this guy, and at least this guy, he was fucking honest. And he was like, yeah, well, I just woke up about 2 weeks ago. And he's like, this is just the weirdest thing. He's like, I don't even know, man. This is so weird. Like, I feel like I might be going crazy. Like, I don't even know. He was trying to explain, it sounded like he was trying to explain, he's in communication all the time, and they're telling him things, and they've been telling him, like, they told him something was going to happen, and then it happened. And he said, it's not just that, though. It's like I can feel it. And he said, I'm just so weirded out. I feel like I'm going crazy and stuff. And he said that he feels like there's going to be an earthquake. And he said the last time they told me and showed me this, there was a flood, whatever it was. And he said, so I'm just going to pay attention because something seems weird. And he said, and I'm over here. And so I don't know if he's in California, but and if that's his guides trying to warn him to get him to go over in Ireland, like right now, is this weird sound. And this has been in a bunch of different places, but it was like right now in Ireland. And it sounds like the trumpets or something. To me, it sounds like almost like gears or something, like we're in a clock and then we hear the gears, or we're in a ship and we're hearing the boat turn. Like, I don't know, it's a really weird sound, but it's really loud. And it's been in other places, and I don't even know, is it just the changes with matter and the frequency and stuff. And there's still so many with the spiritual people that just say such strange things. And then it's just, I don't know. I mean, the spiritual thing, I think, is going to kind of fall apart. It's going to go into more, all of the different things are going to keep falling apart. But the spiritual one is, there's way too many people that don't know what they're talking about, that are out there. At least this guy, he was like, is sane. These other people, they act like they know everything. And then they'll say things that are just strange. And a lot of them, they're in their process of awakening. And, and that's cool if they want to be sharing and stuff like that. But they're in their process. And a lot of the stuff, I don't know, is just kind of marketed as experts or something. But you can hear somebody saying all this, like, really good stuff. But then they'll have, like, totally whacked out colored hair and all these, and they've got diagnoses, and they're on medications, and they go to their doctor's appointments regularly and stuff like that. So that's where it's like, okay, so you're not fully awake, even though you're out there telling people. But it's good to claim your journey, your story. Everybody should hear everybody's stories, so everybody can stop feeling bad about their own. Everybody's got weird ass stories. And people got to quit feeling guilty and feeling shame and like something's wrong with them. And we've all done stupid ass shit. We've all made big mistakes. We've all hurt people. We all have things that we feel guilty and shame about. And it's the process of letting go and putting it into perspective is what we're doing as evolving human beings. Oh, this one threw me. This one really threw me. Like there's some things where I'm always like, I don't know, could this throw? This one did, and it's funny too because it wouldn't be one that I would have thought would, but I guess we're gonna see more of this. But you know, because you always think on the other side where these people are gonna be shocked, like that their idols are really weirdos, and you know, the more that that comes out, you know, the disappointing. But this one, so when I was on Twitter, and there's so much stuff about Chrissy Teigen, Rainn Wilson, there was a few different people that would post really weird shit, man. And when people started waking up in 2020, there was so much pointing it out and, you know, looking at different people and going through their stuff and finding weird, perverted things that they would say and stuff like that. And Rainn Wilson was one that was so weird. And it's so crazy because I always liked him because he was on 6 Feet Under, and I liked that show. And so I liked him back when I mean, that's when I very first started seeing him, and he was so awkward. Then he was in this other weird, awkward movie. He was just always so awkward. And so I just thought, you know, he's just this strange guy who got a break and, you know, gets to play this weirdo in movies or something. And then, when he got on The Office and he got super, super popular and it was a different side of him. And then when he, on Twitter though, his stuff that he would say would be like weird, sickening stuff. Like, I don't even know. I mean, you can look up, you can Google his tweets. I've seen so many weird sicko tweets from these people when people share this stuff that, so you could look up about his, but they were weird. They were definitely weird, where you're thinking like, nobody who doesn't eat babies wouldn't be saying like, what? And weird pervy thing, little kid, like it was just weird shit. Like I was like, that doesn't seem like stuff you joke about. Doesn't seem funny. And so I thought, okay, well, he's a weirdo. And so then yesterday I saw him, and I don't know what he was being interviewed on, but he was talking all spiritual. He was talking all about, he was like, you know, people got to realize that you're not a human having a spiritual, what was it? You're not a human having a spiritual, you're not a human having a spiritual experience. You're a spirit having a human experience. And I've heard that before, but, you know, it was weird hearing him say it. And then he said, he was saying a bunch more stuff. Like, you could look up about this interview. But I was like, somebody talking like this is not somebody who's out eating babies. Like, or maybe he did, now he's repenting or something. Maybe he was brainwashed and he had to. Maybe he was under mind control and now he's not. Like, I don't know. But that one really did surprise me. And so, you know, I don't know. There's, hopefully there will be some people who, you know, there had to be some that were like the undercover agents. Like, they had to have some, you know, good people in there that seemed to be like they were in the crowd with the rotten people so that they could show or tell who the different people are. I also just saw this footage and I kept being like, this has got to be old footage. Like, this is weird. But the Tom Hanks character looks so old. And, but I 100% don't think the real Tom is alive. So I mean, when all that footage was all that decomps or whatever they call them, all of that information was going in 2020. I was like, oh, that guy's, yeah, he's dead. There's no way he was put to death. So I don't know who this guy was. Is he just a character? Maybe he has a mask on. Maybe it wasn't even Rita. Maybe she has a mask on. Maybe it's just to get footage to try and so they can see these people as being assholes. But I was like, I didn't even think it was that big an asshole thing to do. But they're walking and they're just him and his wife like walking through something like an airport or something. And then you get all these people or start getting, you know, trying to get around them and stuff. and are so busy trying to get pictures or stick microphones in their face or something that knocked into Rita or something. And so she kind of tripped and kind of yelled out, you know, at the person, like, what are you doing or something, as they ran into her or something. And he got mad and he turned around and he told him, get the fuck back. I'll get the fuck back. You fucking knocking into my wife and stuff. I thought that's kind of appropriate, really. I mean, these people are up in your space and have no boundaries. Yeah, so I'd do that. I didn't think that was a total dick move, but that was the headline thing on it was, you know, Tom Hanks yelling at his fans or something like that is a real asshole or something. So it's like, I don't know if they're going to bring out fake people to try and get people to be like, yeah, he's kind of an asshole, isn't he? So that when they hear that they were chomping down on Kit, that they've already kind of let go of that, you know, idolization or something. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff that they do is to, like, help people for their awakening. It is, you know, all this stuff is to awaken. And I don't know, like, it's curious, like, how many politicians really do know. I mean, there's like fucking spiritual people who don't even seem to know. And when they sit here and talk about, like, it's just weird, man. Some of this stuff, it's just weird that I hear people saying. I'm like, I don't even know. Because I don't want to put down anybody else's awakening and what they're going through and what their reality is. But there's just a lot of stuff that, to me, is just very strange. Like how people see things and stuff. To me, it just seems like people need to give more perspective or look deeper or something. But, you know, the people on, and maybe I'm just, you know, because most of the people I'm seeing are people on social media. But it was just weird stuff, man. Anyways, like, school got out, and the neighbor was the bus driver. And, you know, and it's just been a whole thing that has really stood out to me, is because they're so 3D. And when I started realizing, you know, some of this stuff, because at first, you know, I was one of those people who thought, you know, you got to wake everybody up. And it took me a while to realize what was going on. No, everybody's got their own thing that they awaken to. And it has to do with what they've got to deal with, what they've got, you know, their own soul stuff or whatever. So, and then when them being so 3D, you know, and me having to not be judgmental, it's like, you know, they don't see. You can't expect somebody to see what they don't see. You can't expect somebody to live their life when they don't see. So, you know, those are the things that I have to, as what I'm saying is the other people, the sleeping people, are there to teach us. You know, we all, or not everybody, I mean, I don't, but a lot of people focus on thinking that the sleeping people are asleep. Well, you are too, because you think that you are helping them because you're sleeping, because it is, hopefully that made sense. You got what I'm saying, because I don't know how to explain it more. Maybe I'll explain it more in a second, but it's like, I feel tired, but I feel like I can't sleep. And I don't know what, I'm going to try probably and go back to sleep after this. And I told Stella I would take her to the river because I wanted to run to the store and get a few things, like a amount of honey. I just want to go get a few things, especially if it's going to go into some sort of lockdown right now. And in Tulsa, too, is they keep having the alarms going off, and they got no power. There's like no food. There's no fridge. There's no, I mean, people are, you know, there's so many things. There were so many people are just not prepared. And then, you know, to people like me, where we keep trying to say, and then we can seem like we're paranoid. We're not trying to be paranoid. We're just trying to reach more people, We're trying to get more people to hear so these things don't happen. So people can take care of themselves. But as a soul, I gotta know is like, well, that's the way it's supposed to happen. I'm gonna reach who I'm supposed to reach. It's all gonna go the way it's supposed to go. And YouTube is still messing with something. Each time if I have a video hit into 1,000 views, all of a sudden it'll stop. And something weird too. So I don't know if there's like doors that or places I hit, if that's how they set up the censorship. I don't know. Like, like on TikTok where it's like 250 views. I was going through and looking at all these like 220, 240, 48. And there was a couple, there was like one for 300 and one for 600. But way back, boy, I'd do one and I would get like 80,000. So it's just crazy. So I don't know. I just think that they put up some sort of shield or something. So, and so to me, it seems like even if YouTube censorship is being lifted, it's like I hit into another wall. I hit into another. So I don't know how many firewalls or something they put up to block us in their censoring programs. So fuck, I don't know. But what was the other thing? Okay, so but all these people who aren't prepared. Oh yeah, because the 3-dimensional. So for me, it is always trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be learning. Like I'm past that part where I'm supposed to be waking them up and getting them to see and stuff like that. Like I let go of that a few years ago. And so, but when they are over there and they're just living their 3-dimensional, shallow life and stuff, I'd find myself being judgmental of them and thinking like, what in the hell is shallow shit? Why didn't that wake you up? And then never being home and it's just weird to be in observation and watch this stuff, of how much we just turn our lives from our own design over to someone else. Like all their time is spent in someone else's life, someone else's reality, doing someone else's work. Their own home space is not ever being filled, hardly. I feel bad for their dogs. That was getting me too. Like nobody's ever there with those dogs. And that lady's sitting there talking about their neighbor with leaving their dog all the time, never coming, even go on vacation. And so, I mean, they asked me to come and feed their dogs, like if they're going to be gone for a weekend or something. But anyways, so, me getting into that space of not being judgmental and really seeing is like, when I was a young mom, yeah, I wanted to do all these things. I wanted to be, I would have been so excited to, get the job as the bus driver. Oh my gosh, I was so excited when I got the job as the cleaning lady at the school. Like, I was, excited to be a part of the school and help out and, have a job that was right there. And, so I don't know. So it's through my own awakening and witnessing other people. And when I find myself judging them is, to try and have compassion and empathy and understanding for what it is, and how hard it would be. You're just wanting so bad to just live that, American dream. And you're trying so hard, to working so hard, and it's about to just be ripped out from under everybody. And they don't, the people that don't see it coming. And, but one of the things, I mean, it needs to happen. It's necessary. Like they don't know how empty in their life is. Like they think, going out to dinner, well, well, we get to go out to dinner. We get to go do nice things like that. It makes people feel like that they're giving themselves something back. But it's like until you go and you start living your life free, you don't know what you're losing. And so they don't know what they're losing. But so school got out the other day and, she put up this big happy sign. She's always putting up big signs and balloons and stuff. She's like one of those moms, like she just wants to be like the room mother. She wants, I totally relate. I totally get it. And then, and they don't have enough time that they don't work on their relationship. You can just see how people's relationships fall apart. And, So, she had their big sign out, school's out for summer. And you can't read that without having this song. And so then, they were there for a little while yesterday. No, because today is yesterday. So the day before, the first day the school was out, they were there for a little while, but then they left. And then they were all left. And then I don't know, it was just really strange. It was like some strange things. And then I was like, man, so your first day home, because I was thinking, oh gosh, the kids are going to be out there just yelling, screaming all day. Have their friends out there yelling, screaming, because the first night, there was a period of time, and I was like, oh, here it goes. There goes the summertime. Oh, just buckle up, get ready. So, oh yeah, I've got these things going. Oh yeah, there's like, then when they left, I was like, oh, so maybe they're leaving already. Maybe they're already going on their trip or something. And then they were gone and came back and then left. And so I was like, man, and that got me thinking about, how we got to give kids more downtime. Kids don't have to be entertained all the time. Kids need to have time to develop their creativity, to the self-soothing, to entertain oneself, to create their reality and stuff. So kids don't get enough time to that, and I think it's really messing with kids developmentally. And we're gonna. I've talked about that a lot of times, but so I was thinking about that. When parents rushing around, and then they left yesterday, and then early, like when I got up, I don't know, not when I got up, but when I started paying attention to the clock and going, oh, weird, because you get set on the bus going past your house at a certain time and stuff like that. Like you get set, and I have the city bus that goes by, and so I have these certain things, and so then it was like, oh, weird, there's not been a bus. Oh yeah, it's summer. Okay, so there's no bus. But then her bus came. So I was like, well, now they're out of school, but now they're back at school. So then I was like, so is school just now started a summer program? Let's just get them right back into, mind controlling them. Don't give them any downtime. Don't give them any off time. Because I was like, that is so strange. So I don't know what today is going to be. It's not my business or whatever. But, it's just that three-dimensional lifestyle. But, I see these people just holding on to it. And I know it's going to, impact them when it all falls apart. And, when I hear these planes and stuff going over, I always wonder, because when I would be out there, looking, when it very first started being so loud, and that's when my one daughter was living here, and they became all buddies, and so then they would talk about how crazy I was. I'm just out there looking at this just totally normal sky all the time and acting like there's something weird, and how strange. It's so strange too, because I was thinking about this yesterday too, about how many times I'd be sitting there talking to my kids, or especially this one daughter, who was like, kept saying how strange I was out there looking at just this normal sky, trying to pretend like it's something. And I would be talking about like, well, they said, or usually I don't say my guide said, I just say they. I'll just say they said this, they said that. And she'll be like, they, what are you talking about, they? And I'll be like, they, the people who talk in my head. She goes, what are you talking? There is no people talking in your head. God, you're so crazy. There's no people talking in your head. You mean the way you just have thoughts? Your thoughts are talking in your head? Are you crazy? And I'm like, no, they're not my thoughts. They tell me things I don't know. So how is that my thoughts? And but these conversations that I've had and stuff, where people, because they don't understand, because they don't experience it, so they don't understand what you're talking about, so they think you seem crazy. And so now with all these planes and stuff getting so loud, I keep thinking, is she noticing yet? Now is she? And I'm still, when I go out my driveway and walk, I'm right at the end of their driveway, which she would be able to see straight out there, and I'm It still always stops there to smell. And that's always where the sun is coming up. And I always stand there and stare up at the sky because there's always weird shit. There's always something weird. There's something weird with the clouds. There's something weird where something is. There's always something weird. And so I'm always standing there staring. And so, but they had a bunch of conversations because, my daughter had to tell me, how crazy they think I am. It's just like, it's so weird when you know that this stuff is coming. That's why I said it's like sliding into home base, and you see, it's going, especially when everybody thinks you're a really bad athlete. There's going to be a lot of shocked looks as you are sliding in because they don't have a clue. Like, that's what I said, I'll be really glad when my kids finally see me for who I am, because I've just been this crazy, selfish, I'm sure narcissistic. I mean, I'm sure the words they use to describe me, if they are talking to their friends, I'm sure they had the worst childhood with the most narcissistic, horrible mother, selfish, only thinks of herself, whatever, all the things that, to me, that abusive husband says. So, but whatever, my life was the way it was supposed to be because that's the way it's supposed to be. And so, I've come to peace with what it is. And but so yesterday, this was another thing too, because I've been seeing these videos of these family compounds, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool, and especially the one daughter, keeps wanting me to move there. They want, grandma to come and be there and move there. And, and I'm like, I want to get a place there because I'm going to have a place to stay there, but there's no place I'm going to stay year round. There's nowhere I'm just going to move and just be there. Like, what they think is different than what it's going to be. Is I want to have a place to stay when I go. Like, I'd be happy just to have I don't even want a guest room. I don't want my own little guest house. Or, it kind of sucks to have to buy a trailer and pay for something year round. But, if that's what I would have to do, that's what I would do, whatever. So I have a place to stay when I go to visit. And then, so I keep seeing these family compound videos, and I think that they're really cool. And I thought, well, if you have young kids, it'd be like, hell yeah, I want to live by the grandparents and stuff, and aunts and uncles and stuff, so I'm not always having to, I have help with my kids. And so that's what a lot of the people say, because people in the comments, oh my God, I couldn't live by my in-laws. Oh my God. And so she's responding, this one woman is saying how great it is and how much she wanted to have her kids be around her grandparents and stuff like that. And it's like, that's the tribe, that's the village, that's the way, it's more to our nature. And so in 2015, it was definitely, I think it was right after my dark night. So it was right about 2015, 2016. It was before they decided I was in a cult. When I went to go get the other thing, the QHHT things, and went to the Reiki meditations and shit. So I started saying that, I already was knowing what was to come. I was already telling them what was going to be coming. And I was saying we should get a place. We should go get property. And we should all get a place, do this big, like a commune kind of living or something. Do that, and they all thought I was crazy. No way, I don't want to live with everybody, blah, blah, blah. And nobody would listen to me. And before I got this place, I was looking at a lot of different property and stuff over by Spokane, because I was going to get a place like that if everybody would do it. And nobody would. Everybody's like, no. And so then I was like, okay. So I, got this place and came over here. But the place that you're supposed to be is the place that you get. And so I got this, and we've been here. And so then going through all this awakening and stuff like that. And I think, okay, well, they're getting more awake. But there's this switch. There's this switch that happens. It's like you can wake up to all these different things. Like, you got people out here fucking preaching about spirituality that aren't even awake. Like, so there's a thing that switches where all of a sudden you just realize something, and it's, to me, it was about human rights, I guess. I don't know how else to explain it. And then realizing about the manipulation and stuff. So anyways, they're not at that part. And so all their different things that they've been going through and stuff over these years has been, um, man, this has been a long, lonely journey. So anyways, we get to yesterday. And so, and I've been watching these. And so I was like, well, I'm going to, I know how things are going to be working. Like, I know how things are going to be going. And so I was like, well, what if I bought some property there? And I bought what if I bought like 30 acres over there? And everybody could come and put up their own like little tiny house or trailer or a yurt or whatever. And everybody's family and friends could all come, and we could build our own little our own little village, our own little town where we know everybody. And only 2 people said anything, and both of them said no. My 2 oldest daughters said no. One of them said that she's not going to be staying there, that she's going to be moving to another place, and as soon as she can, once the one daughter turns 18, so that they can move and go, because she doesn't like it over there. It is deserty and dark and dusty and stuff. Like, it's not green trees and stuff like that everywhere. And but it is, I mean, it's cool, but like, I don't want to live anywhere year round. And so she was like, no, she's not staying there, so she doesn't want to do that. And then the other one, she said, I want a big house. I was like, but a big house? I don't care what size house. It's your house. I don't want to build a house. I was like, okay. And she's like, so I don't want to do that, and whatever. And so I was like, okay. And so it's weird because I know, it's weird because it's like I keep knowing, like, it's weird. I don't even know how to explain this. Like I've said so many times, there's so many things that I'll be able to explain more deeply when it gets to the other side. I feel like once this flip happens, there's going to be where then I would be able to explain things more fully, because there would be more of the other side, so then it will make more sense. So like, there's no reference other than what is in my head. So it's weird. And it's weird to keep wondering, because the things that they show me and tell me is like, you're trying to understand your own communication. So you're trying to, as things happen in your life, you're trying to understand like how they showed you or told you, if this is in alignment with how you understood. And so it's this like a constant translation of information. And right now, to me, it feels like so much. Oh my God, it just feels like so much. Like to me, it's gonna feel like such a relief for this, like a pop the cork kind of thing. It's gonna feel like such a relief of pressure. Like I've said, like for my own truth, because of the things that I have been shown and said and stuff, and it's been so consistent. But now it's like the time of show me the money. It's the, and I'm not talking about show me the money like manifest me $1 million. I'm someone I meant. It's the time to show, it's the go time. It's the, if you get what I'm saying. So all the things, all the buildup is to this point. And so then it's like, waiting for this thing to happen, or things to happen, or whatever. And, there's so many things that could happen. I mean, I swear it's not just this one guy talking about this earthquake thing. I think that there was other things. There starts to be so many different, people having their dreams, having their guides. What is it, Stella? Oh my God, this day is going to be, so this solstice energy new moon, Gemini new moon, this Schumann, we have these solar flashes going, like maybe today will be the day when everything will switch and go the other way. I really don't think it would be the giant solar flash. And I don't know, the pole shift to me is not, like, we're not moving really. It's not like, because where I hear people talking about the 3D to 5D and in the Schumann, and it's some people are in the 4D, and if you're in this timeline, you're in this. If this happened to you, you're in this timeline. If you, like, all this shit, these people like, yeah, well, I'm changing timelines all the time. I'm jumping timelines, and I'll tell you how to do it. It's like, okay, well, maybe these people have just got so many things just beyond anything I completely that I understand, and they're just jumping timelines and shit. Like, I don't know. To me, there's these weird Mandela things that go on. There's a lot of things where we didn't all come from the same experience. Like, like where I came from, Marianne Williamson wrote the Celestine Prophecies, and I haven't come across anybody else. I think one time I did. It seems like a couple months ago or something, somebody told me that that they came from a place where she wrote Celestine Prophecy. But usually everybody always says she didn't write it, and now she's a politician or something. But I don't know. And then, like, to me, yeah, John Goodman was dead, and now he's back alive. What's his name? The Mandela, the guy who started it all. In my thing, he had died. So all those different things, it's like, but we were all living, it's all different realities. We keep trying to put things together that don't go together, is how I see it. Is just, even to me, just my daily day is falling apart. And I think, it's us trying to hold it together, us trying to put it together, us trying to format it, to schedule it and stuff. And it's, it's such a change when you just go with the flow, go with how you feel at the moment. Go with, what, if you're hungry, go eat. It doesn't matter what time it is. Well, I mean, I'm saying that because parasites, and they're just harass me. And it'll be the middle of the night, and I'll be just like, just go eat. I'm like, I'm not going to go eat in the middle of the night. This must be like where people would be like the what was that? Midnight snack, where people used to go get a midnight snack. It's right, because the parasites, when they're waking them up, get up and eat. It's time to eat. It's been a couple hours. So, yeah, I'm not going to just feed them like they're monsters or something. They're insatiable beasts. God, she's having a rough time, man. Oh, God. And this is the thing, too, is like, and I know anybody who's sharing space with somebody else knows, like, when you're feeling intense and they're feeling intense, it's just like, everything that she's just constantly, to me, and I'm constantly, to her. It's just like, just like, this is a lot, man. I don't feel like I go into try and process and stay focused on, asking things I need to see, the things I need to heal. Am I blocking something? Like, I'm constantly trying to stay in the flow of that. And then another thing too that is super important is people do realize that they've got like different ailments or different, like, you've got knee pain and it just won't go away. Nothing you do, just always this knee pain that you've always had. And that knee always gets jacked up and stuff. Those kinds of things is where you can go in and you can go to past lives and see if you were injured and you're holding on to something from that past life. And so you need to let go of it so you can heal that injury. And that is One thing too is it seems that pain is a part of the experience, is part of the grounding experience to get us to be present in the experience, in the that you're born into it and stuff. It seems like pain, it plays a part in to get us to focus on something. And so it's like it keeps you grounded or something. And that is something that they have shown me and told me a bunch of different times. Like something that I would be going through and be like, well, why is it got to go through this pain thing? And it was something that they showed me. It was something about like grounding you or getting you, it like get you to feel the experience or something. Like I don't know how else to explain it other than it was like ground you into the experience. And so that one, that when they showed me, and then there was another one, but then this one yesterday, I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was just watching all these different videos of all these tragic stories nonstop. Is just the thing about pain and stuff, and like so many people with their it's not just because a lot of people are having these physical symptoms and stuff like that, and see, that is where your pain will show through your physical. And so, and it can be pain from past lives, and that is why you got to heal those things. But the physical thing is so to represent, so it will pull you into it. It's just like, but we don't see it that way because we're not shown or trained that way. But it's like the pain has a purpose. It is a purpose to draw your attention. And like I said, and in the hospital, it's kind of like the medical practice was to do this stuff. I think some of it was probably experiment. Like, I don't know that they knew for sure that they were going to create all of these more pain receptors and do that. I mean, they do all this stuff on purpose. So, I mean, maybe they did know they were doing it and did it all on purpose. But that is where the people turn to the wrong place for their pain control, because they need to go to themselves. They need to look inside themselves and find the link to the pain so that they can heal it. And so that to me is what, the things that they show me at these different times. Like, it's always at different times. That's what I'm saying. They're always showing you and talking to you and stuff like that if you're paying attention. Like, it is like you can go through life and have like it's like a textbook tutor with you all the time through life when you are not being distracted and you are paying attention, and they're like telling you and training you and explaining things to you the whole time. So but it is also, you don't always understand. Like, sometimes it takes a few times. And that's why I said, when you ask them to show you stuff, the universal consciousness or whatever, when you ask them to show you stuff, as you're connecting, that they'll show you in a language for you to understand it. So you could get totally different pictures than what I get, because it's something that your reference material, your reference of understanding is different. And so even if I'm talking about something and you go into meditation and you're like, show me more about this, explain this to me so I can understand this on a deeper level. And then they start showing you something, going to be showing you something that's totally different than what I was saying. And so don't get caught up in that part of it. Oh my gosh, I'm so stiff. Oh, that's another thing I know is fucking poisons and shit, man. Ugh. It holds into our joints and stuff. And I know it was those, because causes those the sheen, the stuff to come off of the myelinated, all of these connective tissues and stuff. They cause problems in there. They make tissues get inflamed and joints and stuff. So, anyways, that's all part of the fucking the challenges. I think that part is to ground us into the experience, to realize that this is real. Like that we're really being affected by what these people are doing. We can't just bury our heads in the sand and pretend like it's fine and, go and, drink and eat whatever we want and not be affected by it. We have to be present in the experience and understand, I saw this woman was sharing, and I had said this about the water here when I saw, I was talking about this a couple of years ago, where I was doing the water and I saw Stella wouldn't drink the faucet water. And she would always want to go out and drink the rainwater. She still loves rainwater. She loves the snow too. So I don't know what the hell's in that shit. But and I thought, are they putting shit to addict? I don't fucking know. But so this woman yesterday, she was giving her dog water, and so her dog wouldn't drink the faucet water. She was refusing to drink the faucet water, so she poured some water in a bowl out of bottled water, and the dog went and drank it, and then it went over and sniffed the other water and turned and walked away. And that is kind of like us as animals, as we have to be like tuned in to notice that, to see like, we're being affected. It's like our sense of smell, to notice our bodies are being affected and to be like, okay, so what is the answer? And so many people just go to, the quick and easy route of go to a doctor, which the doctors are all on a script. And then, and that's why they wanted to get them all in doctors' groups and stuff to corporate control. And teach them wrong and then give them corporate control. And what really wears me out, and this is one too, where I just saw this girl, and it was a spiritual one, and she was saying just some of the stuff that they say is just so wacky, but she was saying, which reality are you from? Because whatever reality you're from, where do you think your heart is? So if you think your heart's on this side, then you're from one reality. If you think your heart's in the middle, you're from a different reality. If you think your heart's on this side, you're from a different reality. And, the whole thing too with the flat earth, and, they'll argue, about all that stuff. And it is all, it's realms and stuff. There isn't just a flat earth. There isn't just a round earth. There isn't just any of that stuff. It isn't just where the heart is or whatever. It is wherever they tell us it is, because none of this shit is real. None of it exists. None of it's real. So it doesn't matter about. That's why I was like, don't go get the anatomy and physiology book, because that just is going to put shit into your head. And it's all created by them. I mean, when they can start telling us our kidneys and our hearts are in different places, to me, it isn't, we're switching realities and shit. We're going to different timelines. It's the timeline. Are you in the timeline where your heart's on the right? Are you in the timeline your heart's on the left? It's like, to me, it is that it's the reality is breaking apart. Is we're having to see that none of this stuff is real. It is, because it's freaky. It's kind of like being in open water, to be, animating this avatar and be told, but you're not real. But I am real because I feel real. So how am I not real? I can feel this. How is this not real? So all of that stuff, but it's all receptors. It's all like this, like we're receivers and projectors. And so, but it isn't like real, and matter and is you know, I mean, just like I said, if the frequency changes, the vibration, the atoms go apart. And I think that is the whole thing of why we'll be able to do that, like on the Starship Enterprise, when they would be able to go and they would go in, I think that was in Lost. I think they did that a lot in the 60s. It's probably when that technology came to be, but then, you know, they had to hide it from us. But when you can go into that little like round room or like a tube, and then it takes your particles and then it moves your particles to another tube somewhere else and your particles go back together. I think it would be, you know, like we have to get to that place of not believing that we're flesh and blood. Because if you're flesh and blood, you can't do that. You can't come apart and go back together. Just like how I was talking about that one being that came and was trying to talk to the politicians, and they were being freaked out and they wanted him to shut up because he wanted to help us. And so they cut him up and all that stuff. And he kept putting himself back together. And no matter what they would do, he could put himself back together, because we can put ourselves back together. It's the illusion, it's the belief system, it's the programming, that why we think we die, why we think all that stuff. So, so it's kind of like, it's scary to be thinking, you know, I'm not alive. Am I just a part of something? What am I? And all that, you know, because that's what consciousness is trying to understand, is who and what it is. And so who and what it is, to the state of consciousness, who and what it is the performance. Like it can vision, so if it can see what it does, therefore then it can see who it believes that it is. So it can have a deeper understanding of itself. But then it is so much more with incarnating, because it is such an evolution. Because through experience, you gain compassion for others, because when you get to that point of moving up, and the moving up is the feeling of joy, is letting go of things that don't matter. And that is that elated feeling of joy, where you move up, where it feels like, you know, it feels like a change in your vibration, but it's all is a change of consciousness, is how you look at things. And these people are like, oh, well, there's people who are probably in the 4D and the 5D right now. It is all in your state of consciousness. It is how you look at the world. It is like, I thought in Initiation, Mateus DeStefano, I thought he explains it really good. If it's hard to understand about the dimensions and how it is, it's the sacred geometry, and how the 3D vision is like, so we are here in the experience. So as I said, everything is like a repeat. It was already written, like your soul wrote the story, but then it wants to see itself play the character in the story. It wants to witness it. So it's projected into the visual, that we're the visual. That's how elaborate it is, that the visual can feel itself in the visual. So we are the representation of the soul experiencing itself in the thing. But where people think, oh, well, we are in God's thing. No, the thing that's up there that is experiencing through us is just like a blob. It's just energy. It's just, it's just an energy source, and it can project in, and then this experience is birthed into an avatar to experience. And so but the human gets into their mind like that they are the being, not that the being is the other thing. And that's why, that thing, the Rain said, I've heard other people say about it, you're not human having a spiritual experience, your spirit having a human experience, because you're the spirit is the main character. And the spirit is projecting itself into different realities. And so you could be projected in this one and look this way. You could be projected into another one and look like a fish. So but you're still the same. So all things are God's creatures. All things are of, but anyways, he was also talking about the 3D, but then the 4D is when you step back and go into observation. And that is what I have been talking about, is like this moving into a position of observation, not getting caught up in the drama, not getting caught up in like me being 3D and being angry and why aren't you awake? And we should be, and getting mad at my neighbors and, trying to rally them up and stuff like that. So getting really caught up in the 3D part of it. And, because there's a lot of people out there that are doing that. They're very caught up in the 3D stuff. That's what I said. There's people who got caught up on something that scared them. And they're out there, just very, frustrated and upset with neighbors and families and friends. And why don't you see this? And so, because they're not working on themselves, working on what they need to work on. They think that they need to get everybody else to work on this stuff. So that's the distraction. The ego, oh, I'll just go fix them. I don't need to, instead of looking and trying to see what's deeper. And most people can't get to the deeper part of what's going on here. They aren't to this understanding of this evolution that is occurring to get us into the age of Aquarius, because it can't be like how it was. And this is so dark. It's so heavy energy. And the age of Aquarius isn't about that. So we have to go through this purging of this dark energy. It has to occur. And so when you move into that space of observation, see, I can just sit and watch. I can sit and watch and evaluate. And it's not like I'm trying to judge people. I'm trying to evaluate and understand what is going on. And so it is, but it's in an observation. I don't feel caught up in it. And then the 5th and the 6th, like he explains them, I don't remember, but it has to do with the sacred geometry and stuff. And so the 4 and how it looks, and so, and the Schumann thing coming across with all that sacred geometry going across to me, I still 100% think it's communication. And this argument has started where this one guy who he knows the people who made the Schumann resonance. He's been a part of the whole development of the show. Like, I don't even know his whole thing that he was saying, why he's the one who knows about it. And he was explaining what it was. And if you want to know what your vibration in your place is, you need to be doing yours in your own area. And we keep looking at like this Russian one and all this stuff can be from what's going on in Russia, not what's going on over here. But the spiritual people are always saying, yeah, but the things align with what's going on here too, because this is a whole, global galactic thing that is happening in the awakening. And it's so weird how they don't really understand what they're awakening to. They like, I don't know. This is just weird. This is just so strange. So, anyways, then, let's see, because then she was saying, man, I just lost that again. The 3D, 5D, the 3D, 5D, 4D, I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say. All these people, though, they say this stuff, and to me, it seems like that they, like, there's so many people that it just seems like they don't understand what they're saying. And, but it is like the state of consciousness, the 5D, that's what I was going to be like. I don't remember how they say about the 5D, but to me, through the process, it is, an observation. And then there's a whole spiritual aspect where you're looking at it through the spiritual perspective. So when you're looking at it through the spiritual perspective instead of the human perspective, it takes a different way. That's why I like to look at things as like this soul's journey, what this soul is going through from life to life, what they are trying to heal and fix and clean up in this life and stuff like that. And so, I look at those as that, but then it started with the energy too. And so then you start being able to see or read like the energy. Like you can tell like the way the energy is moving. That's what I'm always looking at, like on TikTok, is like how is the energy moving. And it really seems chaotic, seems so chaotic. I couldn't believe it. Seems like it just is building and building and building, and there's so much going on. There's there's like earthquakes, and volcanoes all over the place. There's fucking fires everywhere. There's brutal murders and shit everywhere. There's it's all that stuff. This is all the stuff. It's crazy too, because my mom, being really religious, uh, she would say about the tribulation, she's all into the rapture, and she's like, the tribulation is going to be so horrible. And I think this is the tribulation. There's going to be, this other really bad part when people wake up, because there's going to be, you can see people are just don't have them in it. They don't have any control of themselves, no control of their emotions, no control. Even that hospital video is what I saw with that woman. Yeah, okay, you're in pain and shit like that, but you're losing your mind like a child, and you've got security up here and stuff. And I've just seen so many videos of people just losing their minds, knocking shit down in stores, going crazy, screaming, attacking people. And, this vibration, that's what I was saying, is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to get more and more uncomfortable. And when you're not doing your healing, it's going to be very uncomfortable, where you're going to just lose your mind because you're being pushed to your limits. And, like when I'm out walking with Stella and she's driving me crazy, stopping every 2 seconds, yanking me over here and yanking me over there. And to me, where I got, like, because I could lose my mind. I could go crazy, start kicking her and screaming and going crazy like these other people. And to me, I was like, okay, these challenging things are going to keep happening. It's going to keep getting more and more intense. So this is more of my opportunity to challenge myself. How much can can you sit and stay centered even when you're being pushed this way? Can you stay centered even when you're being pushed harder? And it's kind of, to me, every time I lose my mind, like, I'm not gonna be mad at myself, but it's more like a video game. It's like when you're meeting the challenges, your points are racking up, ching, 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 ching. And then when you aren't, then it's like you're losing points. And so to me, it's kind of like that. But anyways, the show Initiation, he talks a lot about that dimensional or the dimensional, how they were created, what they were for. It was for souls to have an advancement process. It was like a necessary advancement process. Like, I don't know, because he talks all the way back to when souls were starting, when they very first started having souls. And so, and he got his, where it was, I think he was like a little kid or something. I don't remember if he was already an adult, like a young adult. And then one night, like, it was his guides, or he had some experience, and they told him, you're gonna remember everything. And it was like the next day, it was like he remembered everything. He was like everything. He could know all his past lives. He could remember all the way back to the beginning of man. He was like, all this stuff just came to him. And so that is what he talks about in that show. But you have to be somebody who believes in this stuff. And to me, I go by what is I resonate with. And when I listened to him, I was like, oh, yeah, I totally resonated with him. Like everything he was saying, I was like, yeah, this is in my inner voice too. This is in my inner knowing. And so if it's in your inner knowing, then it will resonate. If it's not, either you haven't learned it yet, or you don't know about it, or it's just not in alignment with you. But that doesn't mean it's not real. But, you don't have to force yourself to believe something because it's a probable, or, it's what you may believe in a few years or something. Just go through the process to get there. If something sounds wacky and crazy, then it's not, there's other things that you can do that will lead you up to a deeper understanding. So, any of the things, and then there's going to be so much of the stuff that is going to seem wacky and crazy because you're breaking programming. And this programming is deep, man. They really, really wanted to keep us as their little, ignorant slaves, so they could just. And one thing too is now people who are paying attention, this isn't even people who are asleep. This is people who are paying attention, are getting so upset by all the arrests. And there's so many arrests going in so many towns, and whole towns are going down, and so people are just freaking out and realizing how much of it was around them, and they didn't know. So that's people who are awake. That's not even the people who are asleep yet seeing that stuff. That is just as the disclosure is occurring and the arrests are happening and stuff like that, that the people are just like, I can't even believe it. And then they've got things so jacked up with the alien stuff. Like, you got people like me who know there's aliens, aren't going to question it. And the idea of aliens, that's the same thing as just their words, because in reality they're just advanced, more multidimensional beings, or just advanced souls that can do more than what we can do. But they're going to come and help us, and they're going to teach us and show us stuff. But we had to, prove ourselves. We had to get to that point that we were willing to, be taught, and that's why we're having this purge, this weeding out. The harvest is the ones who are ready to be taught are going to move forward, and the ones who aren't are going to continue going through life cycles until they want to. It's not like, I think throughout time you ascend and descend, ascend and descend. It isn't like where people it always weirded me out. I've said this so many times to religious people when I was young. I'd be like, you really just want to sit for eternity at the feet of God and sing? That is like what you want for eternity? That has always blown me away. Like, that is when you think about what I want to do for the eternity, forever and ever and ever, is sit at the feet of this being that I think is in control, is the egomaniac, for one thing. Like, their God that they push on these people is like an egomaniac, brutal, mean, like judgmental, hateful, like so. And then they want to sit at his feet and sing. I guess out of fear. It may end up being banned to hell, burn an eternity with those people you don't remember. I don't know. Some of the stuff is so weird. But as to me, is like where people have to awaken to that. And I just think that a lot of people who have held on to these like really backward, primitive ways of looking at things, that they're going to kind of feel that humility and that, embarrassment. I think a lot of people are going to feel that very exposed and embarrassed. And that is, they're going to take it in one way, but it's there so that you can heal it. It's going to happen so you can go in deeper and try and figure out, like, what do I feel exposed about? What do I feel like I've been hiding? What do I feel like I need to let go of? But see, that's going to be the process. And there's people out here like me who are trying to get this out there to get people to understand that, so that when this starts happening, that they can help themselves, they can heal themselves, they can save themselves. They don't have to lose their mind. There's a reason why this is happening. There's a purpose to life. And But, there are just going to be a lot of people going crazy. And so we got to go through that part. But after that big purge part, then I think things are going to really settle down. But I don't know about the cataclysm thing, because that is still a part of it. There's still going to be, but that could be, I mean, we could be in it. Like these solar flashes could be being leading, and maybe it's not going to be, it is going to be these solar flashes, and then there's going to be a big one. It's going to knock out the power. We're going to be without power for a few days. It's going to come on. The banking system, all of the systems will have failed, and then they'll start over with new ones, and start with the new leadership, and all this stuff with Hunter and stuff. This is just to create outrage. So keep that in mind. This is just to create outrage to try and wake people up. And so I said, shit is just going to get more and more absurd, more and more ridiculous, more and more double standard. As it's all to get people to be outraged and wake up, to be like, what the fuck? Why is it okay for them to do this? And, but that's part of the awakening. So anyways, that is, I think that is one of the things is like, oh, well, we're going to arrest them. We're going to do this. Oh, well, no, we're just going to, it's just to get people, because then you get a lot of people outraged, pissed off, talking about it at work. And then people who don't know anything about it overhear it because nobody will quit talking about it. And so it's used like for the awakening. And so that, just keep in mind, because it really, really bothers the people who are the ones that woke up to government and got really scared. They are so focused on that stuff. And so and they get really upset. They get really mad. They're probably making themselves physically sick over stuff. And that's where you got to get into observation and be like, okay, and from the spiritual perspective, you understand this is happening for these other spirits. And anything that is affecting you is for you to go in and trying to understand yourself. How is this affecting me? Why is this affecting me? What do I need to look at here? What do I need to see of myself? And what was it yesterday even? It was something I said, and then I was sitting here, and then I heard myself say it, and then I saw another side of it. I was like, oh, see, it's so easy. I mean, it takes a lot of work to really catch yourself on something. So, don't be hard on yourself. When you're trying to reprogram yourself and trying to see things different and trying to be more open and stuff, just don't be hard on yourself. It's a lot of work. It's very challenging. And, when I think we're going to be doing it for years, but if it is going to be the solar flash is going to go, then all the landscape changes. But see, they don't have people in safe places yet. We haven't even started those cities. Like, it's still, to me, like, I think that these solar flashes are going to go. That Joe and the banks are going to go down. It goes together. It all goes together. And that's going to go down. And that is going to be the pole shift. That is going to be when the energy shifts the other direction. And then the energy shifting the other direction, and all this disclosure where everybody's going to start seeing was when the energy shifts the other direction, that's going to be the most impactful. So when the energy shifts the other direction, and we go through all the anger and people freaking out, which is, I think, going to be a lot in this summer. And then that energy is, but we're going to be having solar flashes, but I think it's just going to be building up. And I think during that time, while there's so much chaos and stuff in cities, they're going to use that to try and move people. So if you are having, they're trying to move you into a certain place, use your discernment, pay attention. If it's any 15-minute city thing, you don't want to be going towards any of that stuff. That you want to be going towards freedom cities, and any of those, or any of the things that it's going to be about free, if they got free land and all that kind of stuff, because that's where everything's going back to humanity. So that's the way they're going to be giving it all back. So they start doing like where you're at, and they start doing these evacuations. And especially if you have 2 ways to go, they say you can go over this way, or we're trying to move you this way. Do research, figure out like where it is they're trying to move you to, what the plan is for the area and stuff, because you don't want to go towards their control cities, because if you get yourself in one of those, you know, you can be trapped in there even if it's for a few months or something. Like if they're trying to get you in them, like I mean, that could be where they're going to have their last stand in control or something. Hopefully, all of this is going to crash down, and we won't have to try and, you know, worry about like the bad ones. It's going to be obvious, like they're gone. And then, so then when they start doing evacuations and trying to get people into certain areas, I think that would be in preparation for the changes on the map for our landscape. And so, because there's going to be, I mean, maybe they don't even know all the different storms that happen. There's a bunch of tsunamis happening right now. There's a lot of shit going on. And so with just utter chaos. And then this submarine thing, I swear to God, I bet you it's down there in some other realm. Because that's what's all around us, is realms and stuff. And but if once the energy goes towards that healing and stuff, and it sends that energy out, and then I think that if they're getting us all in safer places, then that solar flash. But see, there's still this whole part where the power is going to go down, and there's still this part where like these officials are sitting there saying, like these diplomats and stuff are saying there's this big cataclysm thing happening that's coming. So then that gets me back to the part of, okay, so is it going to be the solar flash? Is it going to be the pole shift? And it goes hand in hand with the Joe and the banks going down, like, and that starts to get, like, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make sense, but I think it's going to be a lot closer together. Like, because if the banks and all the power and stuff go down, but the sun blast thing, but maybe it's going to just be these solar flares, and it's going to be just this constant storms and stuff changing the landscape. And then that's all we, you know, that's all we got to do is ride that out. I don't know. I've just heard about the event for so long, about the solar flash, and that is the harvest thing. But like in 2016 or whatever, when I thought that's what was going to happen, and then you know, they started showing me all this about all this. They were constantly showing me this stuff where I kept seeing these come to Jesus moments. Everybody's just gonna have these come to Jesus moments where it's just everything has gone wrong. They don't know what to do. And I kept telling my family and stuff is that was going to happen. So I knew that that was going to happen. But there's a lot of stuff I didn't know it was going to happen. I didn't even know that it was going to be a pole shift, although I knew everything was going to shift the other way. I didn't realize that we were in the upside down for a long time. And, you know, all of those pieces come together for each person through the awakening. If you stay on top of your awakening, if you don't get stuck somewhere and just panic. And, but so whatever's going to happen, I just know there's, you know, we've got some big events that are going to go down. It's going to cause a lot of drama, a lot of trauma and stuff like that. And I know that the landscape is going to change. You know, there's going to be some big things. But to me, everything is survivable. You know, there's nothing that you need to worry about, like, but there's people who think it's the end of things. You know, there's a lot of those people out there. There's a lot of people who I'm hearing saying that they're ready to go back to their planet. And so, you know, that's why I say listen to your own soul, what your soul's telling you. My soul's nonstop about the age of Aquarius. Like, I know what I'm here about. So, you know, and I know there's going to be a lot of people are going to leave. And some of them are going to be just so they can get back to their home planets, wherever they're from. So, anyways, you know, all this stuff is going to be going down. But I just think there's nothing to be panicked about. Even if you end up in a place, you know, when you get killed, then it's just because you're leaving this game. You're just leaving this part of the game. This game is just over for you. Then you just go into another one. You're going to another story, another game, another. You go back to your other planet where you are living still. So it's just there's nothing to worry about. So, but there's going to be some big things, and it's going to keep going. It's like, to me, it's really heating up, and it's just crazy. I'm so shocked, so shocked each week, each day that this goes on, each morning. It's just like, how did they drag this out another day? Now, them even saying, oh, well, plus we've lost $6 billion, but, it's okay. Well, it's just a clinical error or whatever, auditing or a money error or whatever, $6 billion. So, and that's all just to create outrage and stuff. So, but that mishandling of the money is a part of how they're going to collapse the financial system, is how it's going to fall on Joe and stuff like that. So it all goes together. So Joe's mishandling of money, so them losing $6 billion is a good sign, because that is showing that they're going to collapse him. The stuff with the sun and all this stuff. So they're going to collapse Joe, and make him. I mean, they've already been making him out to be such a fool. And so but the money and the government all is going to go together in that part of the collapse. But I think that is what creates the pole shift, because everybody all of a sudden sees, and then that creates the solar flash. But the whole thing about the power going out and switching us over to the quantum and stuff, like, so then it would be like it would go out now and then it would go out again later, or would it go, we would switch over and then it would go out and then it would come back. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot of things that we just have to find peace with. That we're not going to know all the answers. We're not going to have every detail of how everything's going to go. We just got to go, find peace in our hearts. And that is where, to me, where these things happen. Instead of getting mad or whatever, I try and look at, what is the lesson? What am I supposed to be learning? What is it that keeps coming up for me? If this keeps coming up, so walk it back and try and figure out why it's coming up, so that you can, work on your stuff, because that is what is going to propel you forward. That is what's going to make all the difference. When things start switching and people start being in chaos and angry and all of that stuff, that people have been doing their healing and working on themselves and getting their minds right and getting control of themselves, it's going to be a quantum leap in their life. It's going to be a quantum jump into the new experience of what life will be like for everybody once they get there. But it's going to be a big jump for the people who have been doing the work. And that is going to be what we're going to see soon. And that's why I said there's going to be a lot of people whose family members think they're the weirdo, they're the crazy one, don't ever listen to them. And then when everything switches and it's that person, that crazy person was the one who knew the whole time, how did the crazy person know? I think they're so stupid, they're so crazy, they're so this, and they saw it and I didn't see it. You wait and see how that is going to really impact a lot of people. And that's going to fuck with some people's heads, because it's going to hit their egos so hard, and their ego is so inflated right now. I mean, that's the whole thing with the SJW, and it's all this feeding egos and creating this superficial, shallow world, and get them to chase a dream and all of that stuff. So anyways, now I've really been talking, and now she's calmed down. Like, and I don't know that I'll be able to go to sleep. Now it's 3:20. I cannot believe I've been up since 11:30. This is wacky. And that thing still says 11:11, 11:11. It's driving me crazy. So anyways, it seemed like that there was some more stuff. I see so many videos. There's like so much stuff going on. And to me, it's just all of it switching, all of the horrible stuff with the animals, all the horrible stuff with kids, all the horrible stuff with all of the things. It's all to move us into a healthy way of living, this age of Aquarius is not going to be shallow, I'll tell you that. So anyways, have a good day. We'll just see how this day goes. This is the solstice. This is the longest day. What's the longest day? We got to get through the longest of some of these days. Oh my God, mine's going to be going for, I got to go sleep somehow. I cannot go from, oh my God, some of these days, when you get up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, oh my gosh, some days are so fucking long. This one is going to be the longest day of the year anyways. So hopefully it's going to be a day that's full of action-packed, rest, and man, just come on. Who knows, too, with all these fires I saw live, if they are, in LA, they're doing a bomb over here and one over there, like, you don't know unless you're at a place like Tulsa's in hell. And parts of Texas too. And the people are getting really mad too because the rich people have power. It's just the poor people who don't. And hospitals don't even. So somebody died in the hospital because there's no power. So anyways, every place. That's why you got to be tuned into your place. And remember, wherever your place is, that whatever that general energy that is being healed there, that somehow you're attached to that. You came to that place to go through that healing with that group. And so, I don't know if you people from your tribe, from some other place or something, but there's a reason why you are in the places you're at, and the groups are going through these things together. Because it's not just the individual, is each place has its own thing, because it's micro, macro. So the place is also carrying an energy that's being healed that you're a part of. And so, but here too, another thing about where I'm at is a lot of Indians lived here, which I don't know what else to call them except for the indigenous people. A lot of indigenous people, I guess. That's why I'm just trying to stay with indigenous, the beginning people. That so there was lots and lots of tribes up here where I'm at. And so I don't know. I've always felt a strong connection to tribes. So I don't know if, and some of the things, boy, it is. Some of the things with animals and water and some of these things really do affect me. So I can see that, like that would be what I would be healing, is the things because I think with a lot of the tribes and stuff, the tribes wanted to live in harmony with the earth, and they did so much disruption and destruction to the people. And so there's healing that is going on for you at your core, at your soul. But the more you're aware of it, the more you participate in it, the more effective it is, basically. But there's no sitting back and Jesus do the work for me, or all these people who just keep saying your DNA is upgrading. These energies are upgrading your DNA. Anything that is doing, anything that is unblocked, upgraded, all that, you have to process. You have to release this stuff. It's not going to just go away by itself. If that happened, you would lose it when you died from that life. You would die and then everything would be wiped. It doesn't wipe. You carry it from life to life to life. And as you carry wounds, you carry pain, you carry tragedy, trauma, all that stuff. You carry it from life to life to life. It doesn't wipe. You don't forget who you are. None of that shit. So... and the more you participate in it, but this fairy tale idea of the DNA of the planet is going up, so your DNA is just upgrading naturally and automatically. So, and that's why you have these ascension symptoms, because your body's just doing it by itself. No, it's like the planet and all this is happening, and if you're not doing it, it's going to be affecting you for one thing, but all this stuff going. And you have to do the work. You have to go in and figure out, they give you the opportunity, but you got to go in and figure out what's in there that's bothering you. It's up to you to release it. It's not going to just upgrade by itself and just fly away. So anyways, as I'm saying, there's going to be a lot of these people out there preaching this shit. And I'm going to be real curious to see what happens when all of a sudden, when the rapture doesn't happen and the 3D or the 5D and all this stuff. Like, this is going to be very curious to see what's going to go down. And I sure the hell hope it hurries up and goes. I wish it would go this weekend. Wish they would just hurry up, crash the motherfucking system, get rid of Joe. I'm sick of his stupid face anyways. And let's get started on this shit. Like, people will get over it. They're going to have to just get over it and wake up. So, but, you know, for some of us, we're going to have to just stay safe because they're going to lose their damn minds because they can't handle anything because they've not been trying to gain control of themselves. They either go for artificial, here, take a pill, drink a beer, or whatever. So anyways, it gets irritating. And that's where I got to go in and look at why am I getting irritated for these poor people who don't even know. They're just trying to learn. They're trying to grow. They're trying to ascend. Like, shut up, Kelly. Don't be mean to them. So anyways, I'm just going to go work on me. So you work on you and I'll work on me, and I'll talk to you later.